everyone, it's Finnovation. As you guys can probably see, we've got a giant posable off-the-shelf Nutcracker here. And the obvious question is...
how did you get that giant posable elf-on-the-shelf Nutcracker?
We made it. In this video, we're going to be showing you how to make this awesome Nutcracker. Or elf-on-the-shelf, I should say. But before this video begins, if you guys want to name the elf-on-the-shelf, leave a comment down below. I'll pin my favorite name. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, now before this video begins, I want to show you a little bit on how he's made. So first of all, it is a wooden box with some red vinyl wrapped around it. And he has some PVC pipe arms, a mask for a face, and a Santa hat on top. Now we're going to be showing you the blueprints, which are really important because we have some really important things on how we make him posable. So we're going to show you all the measurements and all that stuff in the video. But we are also going to be posing him around the yard maybe every other day to kind of change him up, and it's going to be fun for the kids in the neighborhood to see him move every day. Alright, so these are going to be the materials that you're going to need. First off, you're going to need some PVC pipes. We already spray painted these red because we used them from another project. But basically, you're going to need some 18-inch long and 12-inch long pipes. Specifically, 4 12-inch and 4 18-inch. They are 3 inches wide. Then you're going to need a couple 2x4s, some wood, just in general. You're going to need a dowel rod about this size. Like I said, you're going to need some spray paint to get everything red if you want an elf. Probably about 2 cans. Some Gorilla Glue to hold everything together. Then you're probably going to need... this is a threaded rod with some fly bolts, a bolt, and some washers. You're going to need a couple of these to hold in your arms and legs. Alright, now you're going to need a jug. So what we have here is this is just going to be our head. Then we've got a Mardi Gras mask. This is what we're going to use for our face. And to shape the, we might need a little bit of wood putty or some JB Weld to kind of add on and change the shape of it. Then you need some connectors, a minimum of 4. You could use just straight ones if you want your elf to be all straight joints, or some curved ones if you want his arms to be bent. So we've got 4 straight ones and a couple curved ones. Then 2 of these, which are basically just hands. Alright, now the last thing you're going to need is some vinyl. We have some red vinyl and some white vinyl. We've got a pretty good amount, probably more red than white. This is going to kind of cover around the elf's body. Now, lastly, I'm going to be using some help from my parents. My dad's actually an art teacher, so he's going to help me do the face, and my mom's going to help me do some of the upholstery sting. But let's get into it. Alright, so now the next thing you're going to make is the arms and the legs. So how we're going to do this is we have some 3-inch PVC pipe, and what this is this was actually our old candy slide, but you could just use some PVC pipe and spray paint it red. But what we're going to do is cut a couple 1-foot sections for his arms and 1.5-foot sections for his legs. We don't want to do the whole arm straight or the whole leg straight because we want him to be able to be posable. So I'm going to cut them right now. Alright, as you guys can see, all our pipes are cut and spray painted. Now what we're going to do is focus on these joints. So what we can do here is when we stick in our pipes, we can always change it out for like a straight one or a 90-degree angle. But we've decided that if it's a windy day, it might fall apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a really tiny screw about this long. And we are going to just screw them in just enough to hold it together a little. So as you can see, we have that right there, and I'm going to tighten that up to keep that in there. Now we also are going to do the same thing for the hands. So we've got a screw there. And you may be wondering, so if it's a rainy day and some rain falls in here, how do you make sure that it doesn't get yucky in there? We are now going to show you what we're going to do to solve that problem. Alright, so now what we're going to do to fix that rain problem, now that we've got our joints secured, what we're going to do is you could trace around there or just measure, and you're going to get a jigsaw and cut around to secure those tops and plug them up so rain doesn't get in them. So I'm just going to use my jigsaw here and just... Alright. So as you can see, we got those wood pieces in here, and now what we're going to do is just spray paint them. I suppose this is optional because you wouldn't really see this, but what I'm going to do is just give it a good coat of spray paint. Now we're going to be building the actual body of the elf. So how we're going to do that is we are going to build 2 boxes, as you can see here, and then we're going to put them together. Here are the blueprints. We've changed it a couple times, but basically you can see almost everything you're going to need from these images like this. So it's just going to be building a box that looks just like that. Now that our box is done, it's time to do some legs. The first thing we've got to do is drill a hole. So I'm just going to drill a hole in there for his leg. Now that you have a hole drilled in the wood, you're also going to drill a hole all the way through your PVC pipe. As you can see, we're using a threaded rod that just runs all the way through. On the end, we have a locking nut, so that keeps it from spinning. And on the end, we have a butterfly nut. Then in that picture, we just cut off the access threaded rod. Alright, now that our legs are done, we're going to be working on our arms. You may notice that we actually have taken our legs off so we can work on our arms. They're just a little big and we're not going to use them for now. We're going to put them back on once we're done. So now we're going to be doing our arms. So now for this, we don't want our arms to be rubbing against this side. So we're putting in this chunk of wood to make sure that the arms are a little bit farther out, you know. But now you may see that this thing's here. What we're going to do is actually drill some holes and put the screws in. But you've got to remember, if you've already drilled the hole in here like we have, you've got to remember to put something through there so that you can drill it and you don't make a hole in the wrong spot. So we have that, this is basically just holding it in place. And what I'm gonna do is get my drill, line it up, and then just drill right through. Alright, so now that we have the holes drilled and our block on, as you can see, we also drilled some holes in the arm. Now what we're going to do is we have a lag bolt right here with a washer and a butterfly nut. So I'm going to unscrew that butterfly nut and the washer right now. And then all we're going to do, and we already did one arm, but what you're just going to do is run the lag bolt through your wood. And once you've got that through, like that, you're going to slide your arm on. So I'm going to push this through. And then on the end, all you're going to do is just put on the butterfly nut and the washer. Alright, so as you can see, we're going to make our head next. What we're going to do is we have a jug and our mask. So we are going to indent, as you can see we marked with a Sharpie, an indented place. So what we're going to do is kind of cut that out so our mask doesn't fall off. Then what we're going to do is, this mask isn't exactly like Elf on the Shelf face shape. Its cheeks are sticking out a little bit more and its eyes are bigger. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some assorted plastic, so these were actually electrical outlet plugs. Then we're going to be using some epoxy to kind of shape his cheeks and fill everything in together. We might also be using some ends of water bottles as ears. But other than that, we're basically just trying to reshape the face, and when we paint it, we'll make it look all seamless so that we can't really see that we're using different types of plastic. You could always just paint the face. You don't have to add all the plastic, but we think that this is just going to make it a little bit better. Alright, so now we have our face done. Now it is pretty terrifying, as you can see, but surprisingly it does actually have the right shape. So now what we're going to do is use some plastic wood. This is like wood putty that we're going to just do the smaller details in. And once that plastic wood dries, we are going to spray paint it all one color, and hopefully it should look really nice. Then after that, we're going to start painting it and making it actually look like an elf. Alright, so as you guys can probably see, our head is done and it does not look super scary anymore. My dad did an amazing job painting this. So now what we're going to do, we also got our arms done. What we're going to do is we're going to attach the head. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a really long dowel rod, drill a hole right through here, all the way to the back. And then this is also going to be going through our jug. So it's basically just going to be a giant hole that goes all the way to the back, and our dowel rod just goes like that. So I'm going to grab my drill and start doing that. Next, I'm going to wrap it with vinyl. Alright, now before we put our vinyl on, what we're going to do is do a little bit of batting on it. So as you can see, we've already done one side, but basically all we're doing is getting a strip of batting. You could probably use something that's, about as thick. Okay, so he is done now. We re-added his arms and legs and threw on a hat and a wig. Thank you for sticking all the way to the end of the video, and I'm really happy with the Elf on the Shelf.
Elfin, that reminds me of a joke.
Oh boy.
What is an elf's favorite thing to learn in school?
I don't know, what?
The alphabet.
Oh boy. Whatever, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!